Here we go. China's social credit score. There's probably been very few subjects that have gotten as much attention in the global media than this. And as far as I can tell, it's a pretty big myth. And yet it continues to be a topic of conversation that is never ending. Now, what the supposed China's social credit score is China's big brother, okay? There are cameras everywhere, and there is centralized, basically centralized apps across the board, whether it's your WeChat, whether it's travel app, whatever the case might be. So the theory, as it goes, is if a average Chinese person is out and about doing something, then they do something that goes against whatever rule or regulation is out there, then they're going to get a ticket. There's going to be money automatically deducted because, again, the camera is watching. There's going to be some fee that gets deducted as a fine from your Alipay account, and on and on and on. Honestly, there is no such thing here. No matter how often you might hear it on the media or on, God forbid, podcasts. And, I've checked. I genuinely have checked. Now, this is not to say that, as I've mentioned in other videos, everything in China is centralized. Of course, the government has complete knowledge of, your ID card, your bank account, you name it. It doesn't necessarily mean there's going to be nefarious activities going on behind the scenes. But one of the interesting, I think, comparisons that I came across was traveling back to the United States. China has a social credit score, I'm told. It's a myth. And yet I go back to the United States and I'm talking with certain family members, and all of a sudden they start going on about their literal credit scores. Whether or not they're able to get a loan, or how much the loan is going to be, or can they get a new credit card, or an auto loan, or what have you. And as I heard these family members talking about their credit score, it really occurred to me that it's not necessarily China that has a social credit score. It really seems as though the United States is the one with the social credit score. Now, granted, it's financially centered, but I think you kind of get the idea. But, not everything that comes out that people talk about with China is always necessarily true. What I would just encourage, anytime you hear a negative story about China, or a positive story about China for that matter, ask the question why. Dig a bit deeper. I think we live in a world now where being a bit more inquisitive, taking a bit more responsibility over whether or not you're going to listen to and take things in as being, completely accurate, is probably a good idea. And honestly, with regard to China, I think it's super important these days. You can't really escape all the stories that are coming out about China. But in terms of the social credit score here in China, I'm going to go with big, giant myth.